I was about to say, how long you gonna leave me in the green room?
I was making love to cornbread.
I seen.
Sorry. What you and Deb over there doing tonight?
Deb is at work.
Man, that's all I hear you say. You must be making. My goodness.
Listen, I should be able to quit, right? That's what I told him. I told him I should be able to quit at this point.
Man. So I expected a not guilty. I was on the not guilty trip.
Okay.
But I mean, then my second thing was going to be the hung jury.
Yep. And I said hung jury. So I kind of figured that because it just, to me, they didn't prove in the Melly case, they didn't prove their case. But it was close. It was close. It was leaning more towards not guilty. It sounds like, allegedly, I don't know how true it is, but they're saying they polled the jury. Now, Melly's mom claimed it was 9 not guilty and 3 guilty. And then I think it was Y&W Juvie's dad said that it was 6-6. But either way, the prosecution wasn't close to a conviction. So
Right. Regardless, if you're gonna do if it's 6-6 or 9-3 or whatever.
Yeah, that wasn't even close. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure that the defense is gonna do a motion to try to get them out on bond because the state has a certain amount of days to bring it back, to decide whether they're gonna bring it back. Of course, they will. They already have a conference scheduled, and it'll be interesting to see how they go through all of this, how they go through this again. Because East Side showed their hands now. We all know the case.
They did, like you were saying, and it makes so much sense. I mean, they know everything that was objected to, rather, and things that were not put in that they're going to think of ways to put them in the next time. Do you think they will still get the same state attorney, prosecutor?
That's an interesting. I think she knows the case very, very well. So now you got to get somebody that learns all this DNA, learns all of this stuff. But they may have thought she didn't present well. I think they just they had too many holes in the case. And I would blame more of the investigation, almost more than I would the prosecutor. You can only.
That's what I was saying. My mom was trying to argue with me. I'm saying, Mom, they just barely did some investigation like April, May.
Right. They were like, when did you swab for DNA? June? Like last month, June? Like what?
Like at least say June 2022, maybe?
And he been in jail since 2019.
Right.
That is nuts to me. So yeah, I think, and as time goes by, you lose evidence. If they didn't go, they could have got a camera from every business area over there within that first week. And if Melly was in that car or whatever, they would have had the cameras that would have shown it and it would have been a slam dunk. But because they did a half investigation, it's a lot of reasonable doubt.
There was a drive-by little shooting in my mom's neighborhood. They were knocking on each door like 2 days later asking for your Ring camera information.
Wow.
So if they're asking for people's ring light, can we get the footage off of your ring light? They definitely should have been around those businesses asking for footage
immediately. Because what you do as an attorney is when your client tells you the route, you send a letter of preservation and tell them, hey, this happened at this time. I need you to preserve whatever video you have for August 13th, 2019, whatever, and they preserve it. Otherwise, they re-record over all of those videos. After about 30 days, they record over. So nobody really keeps recordings like that. I mean, the government, 911, like a lot of times it's not preserved. You have to preserve a lot of this stuff. Body cams for police officers, sometimes they don't take them out and preserve them. So you got to preserve a lot of stuff. And it just sounds like they didn't preserve anything. How they were able to get it from the school is interesting to me. Or on the flip side, they may have asked some of them businesses and it wasn't favorable to them. So they decided to act like they didn't.
But it seemed to me when they were asked about, they were like, did you do it? Nope. We didn't do it. Nope.
Well, I've had police officers say they never interviewed somebody and come to find out 5 years later they did interview them. It just wasn't a favorable interview, so they decided not to memorialize it. So sometimes they're not as honest. So I do take it with a grain of salt. I don't believe everything that they say. Because
Right,
even though they're supposed to be for justice and getting to the truth, we all know the prosecutors work with the police officers all the time.
right.
Like they work hand in hand. But
I remember you were
yeah.
saying this past week that, hey, what's up, Kay? You were saying this past week that usually the prosecutor sits right next to the detective sits next to the prosecutor.
Yeah, the head detective. We
The
call
head,
them the officer in charge. Yeah, the one that's over the case. They sit there because they're the only ones. We'll ask for everyone to be sequestered. Basically, if you're a witness or a potential witness, we don't want you sitting in the trial until after you testify, so that you
right.
can not hear what the next person says.
Yeah,
So, but except the OIC, because they're the ones, they know all of the witnesses. They probably interviewed them. They're there for everything. They know the case anyway, and they actually whisper in the prosecutor's ear certain things that they may recall, like that's their right hand almost. So the fact that they literally almost only use this investigator to try to get in some text messages that they couldn't get in before was just wild to me. I'm like, this was the
yeah.
lead detective. Like, what?
What's up, Cakes? What before you talk, Cakes? Let's see this right quick. This is Pam's channel, y'all.
Justice and do good exceptions to all the rules of evidence, and there is no such thing. If it's admissible, admitted through an admissible procedure. You don't try and end around the court's order and the case law by coming in on some pretext and doing exactly what they told the court would happen and create an entire prejudicial fiasco and introduce inadmissible evidence into the record. That's what occurred, and this jury has been irreparably prejudiced.
Now that was just a regular motion for a mistrial during the case.
Yeah, and I wanted to just play that really quick, just because it's like, what do you think about Dude? Dude is pretty. Do you think he did a good job?
Yeah, I think he was the best one on that defense team.
Yeah.
He's a very good attorney. I have to give it. And honestly, just as an attorney sitting back, almost as a student, watching how he maneuvered, I'm not joking. I was like, man, I should have been objecting and sidebarring a little bit more on some of the stuff. Fought on some of the issues. I don't think anything ever bit me in the behind for it. But you kind of,
it just makes you want to be on your toes a little bit more.
Yeah, like it makes you and it gave me the little itch for a minute to go back and do, a couple more. I just was asked to do unaliving case, and I was like, no, I don't really want to do it. I ain't done one in like 8 years. I ain't trying to get back on that. But it almost made me want to do it. I was talking to Dev. I was considering it. It just takes a lot out of you when you do it. So it did give me that little bite, that little itch to do it again. But I'll probably be over it by next week when I think about all the work it takes.
Yeah. What's up, Cakes? You're muted. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
What you got in the oven? I missed that part.
Well, there's a little tri-tip sirloin in the oven, slowly cooking. But I just did a little tri-tip, not a whole big one, but just the pieces. Okay. But I did some Brussels sprouts and some cornbread. Next week, I'm gonna do some oxtails.
Okay. Oh yeah, I gotta be there for that. Maybe I'm
gonna prep on and do some
we can make it together. Go get some oxtails and make it together.
Yeah, we ought to. Yeah.
So since YNW Esquire is here, I do have a question. So Pam, if they do retry this case, how in the world is the state gonna, I guess, prove this? Because at this point, I don't think anybody else, unless they threaten them with jail time after Sister Bun Bun and Brother Glass and the rest of them, I don't think anybody else is gonna cooperate in this point.
Sister Bun Bun didn't know nothing.
I think Bun Bun knows now because Glass showed them. Like, if they'll ask, okay, if I show you your statement, will it refresh your recollection? If they say no, they have to move on.
Yeah,
Glass knew that.
Well, maybe
Now the other ones probably done seen like all we got to do is say that it's not going to refresh our recollection because it was so long ago. Okay,
Listen,
we about to do that. I don't know how I think they're first of all, I think they're going to have to take the death penalty off the table.
maybe that's it, huh?
Yeah, I think they need to take the death penalty off the table because as a citizen, you take it very big. You want 100% of no doubt. It's probably what you want when you talking about I'm the one that can decide whether you gonna die.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that they're gonna have to take it off. Secondly, they need to go ahead and go to Cortland Henry and be like, look, bro,
Yeah.
you did your year, you've been on house arrest for 4, we'll just give you probation for this amount of time, and try to get him to turn. I don't think Cortland will turn, but I think they really they almost need him at this point. It's too many
But you
hoes.
know what, Pam? With all the money that has been given and ran around this case to witnesses and all that's what I think has happened. It wouldn't be in his best interest because somebody might bump him off just for $5,000.
Listen,
if he turns on Melly.
yeah. And he's been vocal. He's been vocal on the on social media that he's not turning on Melly at all. And Melly, his worth done went up. His streams done skyrocketed.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
He got enough money for another and we know Cortland doesn't really have money, so who paying for your attorney?
He paid for Portland to get out of jail on bond.
Yeah, almost 200,000.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you answered this, Pam, but Asia had a question the other day, and I don't know if it has to do with if Melly was actually convicted, but she asked a question, and I was curious in the answer, but I don't remember hearing if you answered it or not. But she asked, why didn't the manager and Frito Bang get charged with something like accessory after the fact or something like that?
You know what? We didn't hear enough information for but I think 100 Track, the manager, he did think he was gonna have to testify. That's why he came to closing arguments. That's why I put the little clip.
And that was him sitting there.
Yep, that was him.
Okay.
Yep, and he was the first one to do an interview and say he was excited that it was the hung jury. That's it. He's like he's gonna get back to the music. That's all he cared about. But Cakes, I was entertaining the thought of I'm looking at the manager side eye because a lot of these doggone contracts got life insurance policies in them.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, because I just took one out of one of my clients. I was like, no, we're not doing that. Like, you're worth more dead than alive. Like, no.
Yeah. I told you, YNW stepdaddy was questioning that as well because they didn't understand why in the world were they dressing his son for his funeral, and like he was like, it's got to be something there that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would his mom?
YNW stepdaddy is showing he wasn't really his daddy. He's showing that he wasn't in his life like that by saying those statements because there's no way in the world that as a father that some like the people you think may have off your son has the privilege of dressing your son.
Yes, and you're okay with it, and you just let it ride. Yeah.
That's crazy. That means you weren't around like that. That's why I said a lot of this. I'm not saying he's not sad. That's his son, but some of this just seemed a little clout chasing this to me. But it's not making sense. Ain't no way in the world you're wondering how are they able to dress your son. Do you know how that sounds, sir?
And then he didn't show up to the funeral.
Melly
didn't show up, right?
You're correct. He said that stepdaddy said that he was supposed to be on his way, then he said he was in traffic, and then they moved the funeral time back to allow Melly time to get there, and he still never showed.
Oh wow. Okay.
I did this little poll on my community
but there was a text about it in the trial too. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, see, I thought because did Melly pay for it though? So he must have went to like maybe a memorial because if they dressed him, then that sometimes that's time for the family to spend time with him.
I think they took the clothes up to the funeral home. I think
Yeah,
that they
but
just
they
picked
said
out
that
whatever
Melly
clothes he
paid
was
for
going
the
to wear.
funeral too.
Yes, he did, according to everybody else. But if you remember in the text, Lord, the
He
long
said he
text, Jesus,
didn't. Yeah.
he he didn't want to go to, I know, Julie's funeral, because he said something about in the text to his mom. He was like, "Those them people are there." I don't know if you remember that, because he said, and she said, back to him, she said something like, um, "Yeah, they were at Sack Chasers too, but you didn't see them, or you could, something like that." I don't know,
Did he
even though
went
he
to
went to.
Sack Chasers? So did he
I
went to
don't
Sack?
know. I don't know. Don't get me to lying. I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
they
All
do.
this
Well,
just stuff that be going in my head.
you know, the police were there. They sit there and they go to the funerals, and the reasoning is they want to see who's there because a lot of
Yeah,
times the person that did it shows up to the funeral.
yeah,
Yeah.
and see who's there, see who's not there.
Yep.
Yeah, and that led me to believe when he said that he didn't want to go because the people were there. That led me to believe that exact thing. Like, well, you don't want to go because you did it, but
Mm.
you know,
I did
Well, the
this little
prosecutor
thing.
ain't proved that cake, so
didn't did
so
not.
Melly's living to see another day. He woke up. He woke up feeling like his life was gonna be a little bit longer than he may have felt the other day.
Oh man, I just want brother to go see a loctician expeditiously. That's all I want for
Listen, I
You
mean,
know
get
what?
there quickly, quickly get there if you can.
that's all I want for him. That's all I want for him.
Well, I did a
That's
little
all I want.
survey on my community board, and 46% said guilty on all court counts, and then just manslaughter 8%, and hung jury 23, walks free 23. So, I mean, it is what it is. Everybody really thought he was going to maybe get out of this, you know, Scott's free, but of course, mistrial is. And let me share this with you. I was on a case for about a month. This guy was being accused of burning up his Mercedes, and it was, you know, some few years back. It was like a brand new 500 series, huge Mercedes, and he was paying at that time $2,300 a month for it.
Whew.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
Wow.
So well, then they accused him of burning it up because he was having financial problems.
Well,
So, but it was AAA suing him, but they just couldn't prove it. And there was one particular key that they could not figure out where it was. So Mercedes-Benz of Fresno sold a car, but there was a key out there in La La Land. Nobody knew where it was. Do you know we all sat on that jury and said, we know he burnt his car up, but they couldn't prove it. But they just couldn't prove it. It was
yeah.
that key that was out there. Somebody could have, because you know, with cars like Mercedes and BMW, it's not about you breaking the window and getting in there and starting it. These are the key fobs,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's not that simple. But when you have a key fob that is out there in La La Land and no one has figured out where it is, that could have been the person that stole the car out of the parking lot that we saw and drove it out a little bit to the country and burnt it up. But that man walked away after AAA suing him for the car. The man walked away with over $300,000 in a judgment.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, gotta prove it.
Because we could not come to the decision, according to the information that was given to us, that to convict him of it. And see, AAA's deal was to pay the claim first and then sue the person later. They didn't even pay the man made the payments all while he was on trial. So the man made the 23. So he had to prove that he wasn't financially strapped.
Right.
But everything that we can see in our common sense showed that he burnt that car up. But they couldn't present it to us like that. So we had to go in his favor, and he got a judgment out of AAA over $300,000.
Wow. And you know what? A lot of those, because I sue insurance companies a lot, and they do, like, they try their best not to pay. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. They try their best. You can pay into an insurance company for 20 years, and as soon as you get in an accident or something, they don't want to pay you. And then like you have to sue them. Like I've experienced where they don't pay at all most of the time. But then when you sue them, a lot of these statutes we have here, they got to pay your attorney fees and all of that. So they might end up coming out of way more, like you saying at the end, where if they would have just went on ahead and paid it.
Yeah, they should just went on and paid it.
Yeah, but they got loan money, so they don't care.
They do.
Suffer for 3 years. They don't care.
I think as far as your poll, St. James, I think had it not been for somebody like Pam that's teaching us how to be critical thinkers, teaching us how to think like a defense lawyer, showing us that you have to prove a case and here's what you have to prove in order to get, even though you might know, right? Because in my regular mind, I know what happened, right? I know. I feel like in my soul, I know what happened, right?
Yeah, we know.
But like I said, had it not been for Pam, I would have been like, yeah, he guilty. But the more that
remember in the beginning, in the opening statement, everybody was like, "Oh, he getting cooked. It's a wrap for him."
I did it. Oh, it's over.
I did that. What?
Yeah, he said
that? Oh yeah, we really thought it was about to be open and shut, and sister homegirl was gonna have her little stuff out, laid all out, and as time went on, we were like, wait a minute now, hold on. Now, it's not looking. You still haven't put him in the car. You still don't have the pow. You still didn't put it in his hand. I think if you learn how to think like that, shout out to YNW Esquire over there. If you learn how to think like that, then you can definitely sit on a jury and have a different mind. And just if you watch this stuff like I do, then you can definitely have a different mindset for sure.
Yeah, and I thought it was crazy too how we had the video of Melly getting in the car at the studio, but his DNA never showed up on any car.
Never showed
until 2 months ago. We was like, what? That looks planted. It looks planted. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's what it was giving me. Like it was planted. Oh, Pam, I think you went mute.
No, I pressed mute on purpose. Oh, okay. I'm listening though.
Yeah,
it gave planet vibes.
Yeah, it seemed towards the end, it seemed like Sister Backdoor Betty, it seemed like she just had it out for him. Like she wasn't focused on anybody else but him. And it started sounding personal, and I was like, sis, you might want to rinse it back a little bit.
Demons on purpose. She knew she was doing that mess on purpose.
She was. And even Moretti, he was doing it on purpose too.
Yeah,
because I think he was tired of reading them text messages.
They were trying to get that little deal into the jury's, psyche.
Yeah. That's a messed up last name, though, St. James, ain't it? I think
let me tell you, I would have changed that bad boy years ago.
Real quick.
Look, if I was his mama, I don't know if she with the daddy or not, but I wouldn't even gave him that last name. I'd be like, his last name is something else, because no, why would you even? That it's spelled like it. If I looked at his name on a piece of paper, it's demon.
That's what it's
demon. Period. It's demon. They done changed that man's name 3 times. Demons, all kind of stuff. That boy's name is Demon. Period.
Yeah, because the defense attorney, remember DLK didn't know what his name was. He said, I'm just gonna call him Melly. He didn't even know how to call his own client last name. He knew it said Demons.
If y'all ever hear of me into some good trouble, because y'all get Martin Luther DLK for me.
Oh, I got you, St. James. I got you.
Pam done learned some new terms, St. James. She might get up there and be like, that is in its embryonic state.
You know I'm using that. I can't wait to do a trial.
That little embryonic statement was wonderful. It was good.
Yes, I can't wait to go against an expert that's new to the game and say, oh, so you just started last year, so we fair to say you're in your embryonic state.
If I was that man, that would haunt me daily. I'd be like, that mother Trash told me about.
Oh, it was good because it's true. You can be in this, but a court basically deems you as an expert. So of course you're gonna have to take certain trials and stuff until you're deemed as an expert. Everybody has their first time, and you just luck up if you go get them. They get them expert, and this their first, second time. Man, I hope so. I'm gonna be like, hey, y'all should choose this guy. He just started 2 years ago, so I can use my embryonic. Oh, so we can say that you're in your like embryonic stage. Oh, baby, I'm a recorder for y'all and put it on my
Oh, please do. And then we need you to have some Bob Sunroof theatrics on top of embryonic state. That would be golden. Like that would be.
I got them anyway. I am so, and a lot of that stuff is like, let me tell you something, and this is something that I don't really share like that, but when you're a defense attorney, you always have to look at it where the prosecutors work with those judges way more than you do. Because oftentimes the prosecutor is actually assigned to that judge's courtroom.
Right.
So they know them. So they have this presence about them where in front of a jury, it would look like it's an ownership almost. They're gonna know the court reporter, they're gonna know the judicial clerks, they're gonna know, and it may be that this is your first time in front of this judge. So you're learning everybody and all of that. Child come in there like I own the place. They have water on the defense table. Child, I go over there and I take it off for the prosecutor's table and pour my stuff in front of the jury. This is my courtroom.
You gotta state your claim. Stand up in here.
I need whatever trial you own next. I just need you to hand it to Law and Crime so we can watch it. Just tell them streaming for my people. They'll be there. Don't worry. You'll have your viewers. They'll be there. Because I want to see this. I need to see this in action.
You literally have to, because they have a presence that's there. And I had some attorney teach me like early on that. And from that point on, I automatically know the depth. Like when I did my last murder trial, they came in like, here come the dream team. They was inviting me back there. They had donuts with the judge. I was getting invited back there with the donuts. You just got to do that just to let the jury know, like, yeah, I'm really that chick. Like, she just in here borrowing the space right now, but this is my courtroom.
St. James, you see Kyrie's comment?
Kyrie said Carly is out kicking it. She was at Publix shopping.
What? Well, you know what? Let's talk about Carly real quick. Dang on. Okay, so Carly, what I noticed, because I'm an investigator in my part-time life.
Right.
And so, she had the thing about her and her mom is like on Facebook, they would like delete their pages, bring it back up later on. They like, you got to catch it because they keep deactivating it, activating it. So what I noticed was now she did the one kind of like a public figure for you to like her page.
Oh, you're
kidding
what I'm
saying, to follow her. No.
Wow.
And then if you look, the boyfriend, he done got thousands of followers since then.
Right.
Not even verified. If you go over there now, today, he done verified his account. He done put the blue check on there.
Wow. He done paid the $14.99.
He done paid.
So basically, they trying to pull the ultimate finesse on us, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's why I said it really sounds like. And then, but he was the first one after it. They came out with the press conference, and we all knew it was a bunch of baloney. Then he deleted all of her photos. But then yesterday, you doing an article talking about leave her alone, don't mess with her, don't be bullying her. You the first bully because you took all of her doggone photos down. You not standing by her. You think we wasn't gonna notice that?
Right.
He should have changed his profile pic to him and her. If he was behind her. But he took it all down.
No, after that press conference, he probably thought she was gonna get locked up. So he said,
well, the thing about that press conference, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, I think they lying in wait and they collecting data to tell us at the next press conference what she's gonna be charged with.
I agree. I think that because that question came up more than one time, and that chief would not say whether she was going to be charged with anything. But he said, what I will say is that nothing she said can be corroborated. Okay, you saying she lying. That's what you saying.
Basically. Right.
He should have left that stripper alone.
Yeah.
Not the stripper.
But
I
did
can't
you
say I
hear the
disagree
theory
with
about
you.
her being pregnant by a 17-year-old allegedly or some bull like that?
I've heard so many
Did you
stories.
hear
I
that?
don't know what to believe at this point. I heard it though. I
I
heard
don't
about
know.
it.
But you know how that goes. People always want to put a little yeast on the story to make it a little.
Gotta make it spicy.
Yeah.
Now, what was that with them all going to Atlanta or something for her birthday? Did you guys hear that?
I didn't hear
Yeah,
that.
that's what Kyrie is talking about. That's why he says she's at Publix because apparently she's out there big kicking it in Atlanta for her birthday with her mama.
Oh, isn't that
Mhm.
nice?
Must be nice.
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
under anybody close to her is under a microscope. So he can run around, windmilling for her now, but he might want to, disassociate himself like he did with the pictures. He just might. Yeah. I think they're just waiting to figure out what they're going to do, what charges, or they may already have the charges. So he's going to come out there in his zoot suit. It's going to be a purple suit this time.
What
He
kind of
coming out
suit?
there. He
What
gonna
kind of suit? What kind of suit you say he was gonna have, St. James?
a zoot suit, a zoot. Got his zoot suit on. He gonna tell us exactly what's going down. They're gonna do him like Smollett. They're gonna say, you pay this money, this 25,000, or you go to jail or something. I know they're gonna have to do something. So I don't know.
St. James, you're not burning whatever's in your oven, are you?
No, I just took it out and put some barbecue sauce on it. So I think it's
Okay.
about done. Let me see.
What is
Okay.
it? What's in the oven?
I just did a little tri-tip, little sirloin tri-tip strips, little something.